Because we are going to dive straight in right here. Game number 2. Fanny Angela from RRQ banned out. Onic, Valentina.
RRQ right now and first pick, banning the Fanny and Angela, huh? So these are still the same bans, kind of. The Angela is the same, but the Pablo and Koopa, as well as the Fanny, was actually banned on the side of RRQ, but they were second pick. So small difference here. We'll just see what the impact is. And for Onic, since Angela has already been banned, they would ban the Grok here if they don't wish for RRQ to actually have it in their disposal.
That's exactly what I was thinking here. I think the Grok ban will come through unless they want to leave it open, right? There are still other picks that can be banned. For example, like the Ling. That was such a huge nuisance into the hands of Albert.
What's interesting is that Onic now has gone for the second pick, right? RRQ started off in the first game as the second pick, and this will be the Ling ban for the side of Onic. That means the Grok is up for grabs. RRQ, they can pick it up. R7, we all know how much he loves this pick. It was banned earlier on. No, actually, it was picked, right? Was it picked or banned? It was banned. It was banned in the first game.
It was banned by Onic.
By Onic.
As the third ban.
So RRQ, they're going to pick it up. There you go. The Grok pickup for RRQ. Onic now may go for the Boxia.
Boxia and Beatrix is what they did
Boxia
in
Savior.
the previous one, but exactly. I was thinking that they should pick up the Xavier this time around. I think it really helped RRQ Hoshi set up for the team fights that eventually led them to the victory. It's just such a good pick. You can use it to kite away. You can use it to seal all the potential kills, but it actually is going to be the Xavier and Esmeralda, so the Boxia has been left open. Are RRQ Hoshi going to pick it up for themselves?
It will depend. If they want to go for the Boxia, they'll have to actually go for a pick-off composition, and that is not something that is too foreign to the side of RRQ, so that may be the case, but if they want to do that, they have to make sure that they circumvent most of the crowd control coming in from Onic, because so far there's an immobilize, so some kind of fast movement speed will be desirable.
There you go. We got some friendly gestures, I guess, from the crowd here, from Marsha and Fadil. But let's get back here to RRQ with the last 2 picks of the first phase. Do they want to pick up the Beatrix? Yes, the question will be answered instantly. Beatrix for Skylar and Boxia for Albert, most probably. But this can still be flexed. It can still be played by Vin. And Albert might just pick up a Lancelot or a Hayabusa in the second phase.
I would definitely want him and prefer him to go for the Lancelot or the Hayabusa. I love the Assassins on Albert. I think he does these heroes quite huge justice in a sense that he can implement everything so well. He's able to do the executions. He's able to take all the aggression onto the neutral objectives really well as well. But we'll see what Onic Esports will respond towards this. The Boxia has been picked as well as a Grok. Are they going to look for something similar with that early aggression, or are they going to just go for maybe the Hylos pick? But actually, it's going to be the Wanwan, so the battle of the gold lanes here in that Wanwan as well as that Beatrix.
If I recall correctly, Skylar was actually on the other side of this matchup, was he? No, he was... I forgot if he was playing the 1-1, but...
Claude.
In the first... Oh, it was Claude, right,
Yeah.
against the Beatrix. So now, she's on the other foot. Skylar is on his signature hero, the Beatrix, going up against the 1-1. If what Mirko says is correct, if the snipes land, this matchup can still swing in the side of Skylar. Although, for now, Onic, they'll have to see what they want to ban out, since they already secured a lot of outplay potential.
Ooh, the Lancelot ban comes through here for the side of Onic Esports, really taking that potential away from Albert. But that does leave the Hayabusa, as well as the Karina, to be honest, at this stage. But the Atlas ban comes through for the side of Araki Hoshi, really respecting the playmaking potential that it can have, especially into the hands of Kiboy. And now Onic, are they going to go for Albert's heroes once again? Or might they go for a different route here?
Right, Albert on the Boxia though, it's really not a very high mechanical hero, so I feel like it's a slight bit of a waste.
Yeah.
But for Onic, they don't believe that Albert is going to go on a hero like a Boxia. They ban out the Hayabusa, which limits his options. Yeah.
They're not buying this this bluff perhaps from RRQ, but we don't even know if it's a bluff. Maybe Coach Phil, he drafted this for Albert and they're just laughing right now, right? Again, this is why it's just so hard to draft against RRQ and Onic, both teams, right? Because right now, you want to try to ban that roamer? Kiboy has such a deep hero pool. Natalia is still available right here with also Selena, right?
You're
so either way, you
right.
ban Natalia, he can pick up the Selena for that early aggression. If you ban out the Selena, Natalia could be the choice. Or he might just go for a Kufra. Maybe none of those heroes. Maybe he could go for something like the Hylos that we've seen many times before. Rafaela yesterday as well. So let's just see for RRQ. They ban out the Hylos. One of the comfort picks for the side of Onic. But now it's going to be Onic with the first pick. This time around, do they want to pick up a roamer first? Or perhaps they want to pick up a jungler?
Well, it is going to be the Hellkirk. That was a pick that was so beneficial for them back in match number 1 when they were going up against Aura. So, with an assassin located for RRQ, with a lot of, I don't know, misguiding potential with an ultimate as well, I think RRQ will need to try and secure, I don't know, the mage for Clay I think would be really cool. Something with crowd control would be nice. But of course, Clay prefers the high ground kind of mages. And so far, not much of it is left. Yves has been banned, Xavier has been taken, so something like the Farsa maybe.
I'm really worried about this Xavier from the side of Onic Esports. RRQ Hoshi, they need someone to be able to dive into that backline.
Sicilian Carmilla could work here for RRQ
Possible.
again. If they
What?
want something in that mid lane, if they want some sustainability, it could be the pick. But no, it's actually Natalia and the Kagura. So they're going for heavy kill pressure here in game number 2. Onic, what will they respond to this composition with? Last pick. They need a roamer. Up against Natalia, Rafaela works great.
Rafaela works great because the Hylos has been banned away. That is a huge option, especially the ability to figure out where the Natalia is, really make her back visible on towards the map. That's going to be very important because I'm afraid that the Xavier is going to be vulnerable this time around with the Natalia, especially into the hands of Vin here. Onic Esports. Other than the Rafaela, what could he pick up? The Kufra, I suppose, but it just doesn't have the same effect.
I feel like just a beefy hero with some crowd control would be desirable. But the route that the Onic go for is indeed that Selena on the hand of Kiboy, right? So he goes with the Abyssal Arrow to just provide some protection, and the Abyssal Traps will be able to actually scout for them, and that will expose the Natalia even more so that they can actually maneuver around that.
Wow, similar playstyles in a way. The thing is, Arkihoshi, they want to bet, let's say, on the Natalia, but with so much vision that can be potentially opened by the Selena, it's not going to be as easy. This actually provides a lot of protection for the Xavier in that backline.
Again, for me, I'm going to have to go with Onyx draft here. Probably because of the 1-1, but yeah. Onyx for me. Arashi, quick prediction.
I gotta say, I think RRQ has the more active composition. I think for the most part, Onic will be trying to react to them, and that is never a good idea when two teams of such magnitude clash against each other.
I have to agree with you. I'm going to go for Arkihoshi on this one.
2 RRQ votes, 1 Onic. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to dive into the Land of Dawn for game number 2. Aura were knocked out by Onic, and Onic will try to do the same right now to RRQ, maybe even repeating what happened in the Season 8 Grand Finals. But RRQ, with this draft, they do look very intimidating in that early stage.
Let's hope their endurance pays off here for the side of Onic Esports. They've played so many games this time around, and well, I want to see this endure. I mean, Vin already taken so low by Kiboy. This is his signature pick, by the way, so the Selena.
Yes.
Duel of the two aggressive roamers, and in the early game, the Selena will have an overwhelming advantage. In the late game, though, the potential for the Natalia to just pick something off is a lot more dynamic. So right now, the Little Wanderer was taken by Albert, and for the most part, Arkihoshi still has the advantage.
Note this down, Arashi, because I'm feeling like Albert might win a lot of these Retribution battles. Just note down how many times he's won, right? So in game number 1, I think he's done it once, and here is the second time. Let's see Vin jumping onto Sans, just putting the damage down, as Sans will have a tougher time to beat this orange buff. But I think he should be able to take it without any problems here. He still has a Retribution. He won't use it just yet. But this is why Vin on Natalia is just so annoying. Abyssal Arrow will not connect. Clay spots Kiboy in that bush. Boots rotates to that bottom, that topside river, helping out in the mid lane. But both teams, again, not really going for too aggressive plays here in the early stage.
I don't think just yet. I think the fight is going to be brewing soon as a product of the turtle that is going to spawn in under 16 seconds. The setup for the side of Arkihoshi does seem like a bit dominant in that area, but Sans is going to be rotating as well.
Right, I mean, the hard part here for Onic Esports is the fact that their jungler is an assassin, so he's a lot more susceptible to just getting disturbed, getting picked off by that aggressive roamer. Whereas for Arky Hoshi, for the most part, Albert on that Boxia won't be in too much of a too much of a tough spot being harassed by the Selena.
Okay, so this is quite interesting, right? Because Albert is on that Demon Slayer as well as Sans. Let's see who has a better retribution, like Mirko mentioned earlier.
Let's see, it's going to be the 50-50 battle here. Vin jumps in onto Boots. There's no damage to him as he will be able to regen back up with the first ability. Vin looking for something here, jumps onto Boots, has this smoke bomb as well. Both teams looking for the turtle. Immobility, Mystic Field has been placed. Drion looking for a pick. Albert as well. Shield unity to the backside. Boots going to go very aggressively, but it is going to be Vin who pops that smoke bomb. He needs to be careful here because that's the Mystic Field connecting, and first blood will be claimed by Onic Esports, presented to you by the Samsung Galaxy A series. Clay, gotta be careful. Albert will not win this one. Sans gets the better retribution right on point, and R7 will be forced to back away. Flickers out of the Abyssal Arrow, but will have his HP chunked by the Dawning Light.
You can see Kiboy going with a lot of movement speed in his emblem choice as well. He is attempting to be as active as possible to affect the whole of the map. And interesting enough, R7 also has the same idea. We know that his signature pattern from R7, if he is able to get an advantage here over Boots on the Esmeralda, he will be all around the map making plays with the wild charge. But of course, that's easier said than done.
See, it's so hard. Every time Vin wants to go for an aggressive play, it's going to be the side of Onic Esports, Selena just sniffing him out. And once again, I mean, it's Skylar on the Beatrix. It's gonna hit. It's gonna hit. They just need to be able to figure out how to maneuver around it at this stage, honestly, as CW gets cornered.
Oh, he is going to get hit by the Abyssal Arrow, though. Kiboy will be able to chunk him low. Sans is here. Skylar forces a flicker, but the Stingers will connect. He is going to be able to pick up the kill. Vin caught in the Abyssal Arrow once again. Kiboy just so on point, but Albert, he's taking every single shot from the side of CW. He has the crossbow of Tang, but Albert pops that Turtles' Poisons. He will be able to get out. Play. Looking for a play. Sans will just back up. Vin going in. Gets the silence, but Sans is way too slick. He gets out before RRQ were able to do anything about it. Onic with the lead.
Onic Esports with a 1,000 gold lead at that. So Onic Esports have had the favorable trades over the board. It does seem like Onic Esports also has control onto the turtle. So the next turtle will spawn in under 30 seconds. We'll see how this goes. But to be honest, if that skirmish happened in the bottom side and Albert was on an assassin, I think that would have ended a little bit differently. The problem is the Boxia doesn't give him as much flexibility to play around with, and this might be a mistake for the side of RQ Hoshi.
Absolutely, man. Albert on the Boxia, not as much outplay potential, not a lot more damage. So when both teams are equal right now, Albert just doesn't have the same impact he has. Although, if RQ Hoshi gets a momentum, gets an advantage, that Boxia pick will be a lot more obnoxious than the held Kurt pick from Sans.
Well, the retribution will be there this time around. R7 gets a wild charge, and that's going to be the instant knockout for the side of RRQ. They chain CC Sans, and he was just knocked out. Look at him. He's dead on the ground. Onic looking to get out here off this position. Boots
the wall.
Caught in the bad situation. Good wall from R7, but Boots will be able to maneuver out. Yeah, that was brutal. Sans did not move the entire time.
Stuck,
He was literally stuck. R7 wild charge, that's 2 seconds in the air, and then shield unity. Then he just got bursted down by the yin-yang overturn.
And then done.
And then
That's
done.
the thing.
That's how you deal with an assassin. Get the crowd control, make sure he does not move, because the outplays are what these
let you get
assassins
close.
try and do. Exactly. Don't let them get close and just lock them down. Right now for RQ Hoshi, there are a lot more options for that pickoff compared to Onic Esports. But Onic Esports, again, in the late game, will have Drian to rely on for that long-range impact. And that is something that RQ Hoshi will have to plan around, most likely sending Vin to deal with that savior.
Man, Onic Esports, they are trying to go for a gank at the bottom side here, but Skylar actually has the preemptive movements for the moment, but on top.
I don't think they can take Boots down here, but maybe with the Dawning Light, Boots will be able to go for the 2v1. No, Boots just backs up. That was a proactive play by RRQ and instantly disengaged from the side of Boots. Good help and good awareness by Drion. Skylar with the Wesker is so dangerous. Kiboy could have just died there. Skylar, if you're on a Beatrix and use the Wesker, you're more of an assassin than you are a marksman. You know that?
That makes sense.
Play the bushes properly and you will be able to one-shot people. But Albert now jumps in with the shield unity. Clay going in for the follow-up damage. onto Kiboy. He will not be able to run away. Clay picks up the kill, bottom side as well. Skylar reads the situation perfectly. He will just give away his turret. He will not lose his life. Sans was down there. Beautiful read.
Interesting play from the side of Onic Esports. They seem to be going for more objectives now on the board, as it is going to be one turret fall into their hands. I want to see more of these type of rotations as we are now stepping into another technical pause here in game number 2.
Yeah. I think that both these teams need to actually maneuver around more effectively, right? Because when both teams want to be proactive, it comes down to which team can make the play happen first. And for the side of RRQ, the fact that they have a Boxia, right, is a lot more mobile compared to the Hellcurt. So the farming speed might be equal just because Boxia, that is exactly what teams are picking him for, right? The farming speed. But the ganking, I think, could be a bit more proactive from RRQ for sure.
It's hard though, no?
It is.
Because even if they want to, they went for a gank.
They did.
But Onic Esports, especially with Selena being able to put these abyssal traps all over the board, the places where they would usually wait is taken away from them. So if you're looking for more proactive movements around the map, proactive picks, which is exactly what RQ Hoshi is trying to commit towards, especially with the composition that they brought here in game number 2, how are they supposed to maneuver around this?
Well, being discovered is one thing, so they would lose what they usually like to do, right? The strat they use usually is to wait in the bushes, spring a trap, and actually get those pickoffs. Now that that's not available, they can opt to just try and move faster than Onic, because the roaming squad from the Kagura, the Boxia as well as the Natalia is, in theory at least, faster than the Hellcurt, Savior as well as the Selena. Although for Savior, it's kind of cheating because he can just go with the global influence from the Dawning Light.
See, even that gives them utility to open up the map.
There's a lot of utility on the side of Onic.
There's a lot of indirect scouting as well.
Yeah, they can open up the map. They can also darken the map. Right?
Exactly.
Technically, Hellcurt and obviously Xavier. With Selena as well, that's a lot of map control. That is a lot of map control.
So there's light and dark on the composition of Onic, but RRQ is the one with the yin-yang overturn.
Mind-blowing stuff, Arashi.
You're right, Arashi. They also have a tree.
A
tree. Rock, right? Like,
isn't he a rock?
Whatever, man. A rock, a tree, you know? Well, why don't we talk about these Rockman users? Lita, player head-to-head, R7 and Boots, both of these players, they really like playing on the Grok, and their Grok, they're lethal.
Absolutely, man. Both these guys, they like just making those plays, and on the Grok, you just have so much potential, and you have so much more damage to work around with, especially after the changes that a lot of players are just taking advantage of. So if you look at the KDA though, R7 is on top as well as the kills, but the kill participation for Boots is a lot higher. So I think R7 makes a lot more aggressive plays on his own, but Boots just sometimes have a lot higher impact plays, especially once that late game comes around. Because Onic, they like playing with that playstyle, right? The calculated, well-planned strategic team fight.
Boots does like to go for the team fights. I do agree with you. I think that is exactly his playstyle. He watches a team fight come to fruition. He goes in usually with the Esmeralda, for example, and makes a crazy play with the Falling Star Moon landing on 2 to 3 people. But for the side of R7, what I find very notable is his ganking ability. He's able to, let's say, he sees a Xavier at the backside, he goes in around everyone and goes in for that 1v1 kill. So I see different playstyles coming in from both teams. It really doesn't mean one is better than the other. It just is their different styles, I suppose, and how their composition is able to lead up to that.
Yeah, I think so. That's I think it's in the win condition as well, right? R7 being able to win in the lane and then use that lead to translate into the rest of the map. Usually, I think the main difference is that R7 does that in the laning phase and essentially just ganks, right? Whereas Boots, he just usually stays in his lane until later on, and then he groups with his team for those team fights later.
These days, the way Boots has been playing is usually for objectives. I agree with you. During that laning phase, he walks all across to the other side of the map, tries to look for a tower. Like on the Esmeralda, I would have thought that he'd go for a more objective center type of playstyle, but no, he goes for the towers all the time. That is one of the main differences as well with R7.
You're right. You know, when we're talking about Boots, I feel like he's such a team player, right? For R7, there's a lot of individual plays that set up his team, yes, but as an individual, he plays a lot for that lane. Meanwhile, Boots, he just plays for his team. He plays for the objectives as well. But so far, who do you think has had the better season, R7 or Boots?
R7 for sure.
R7.
I have to agree.
Yeah.
Oh, jinx.
Yeah, we gotta agree, right?
Synergy, guys.
On paper, R7.
Yeah.
So strong, only losing out in that kill participation. But again, I feel like he does enough for his team, maybe even a lot more than enough for his team here. R7 with the Grok multiple times, he was able to steal it from Rebellion, Lord, Turtle, purple buff if I'm not mistaken, and for Boots, we haven't really seen that level of impact.
Right. So I think it's interesting to see because people are saying, okay, Boots isn't as good anymore. We don't see the crazy plays anymore, right? Where he was 1v4, 1v5. But the thing is, the way that Onic is playing now, there's rarely any need for Boots to make that kind of desperate play.
Exactly.
He's rarely
They're
the only
efficient.
guy doing well, right? Everyone else is usually doing okay, and he just enables them. So that makes him shine a bit less, but by all means, that means Onic as a whole is just a lot stronger.
I think we're really used to the dynamic Boots that we saw in Season 8. Those
The
crazy
hard carry
plays.
Boots,
Yeah.
the Boots esports Onic.
The one where he makes those moments happen. The Lapu Lapu, the Esmeralda. But this time around, maybe, just maybe.
Bauman.
The Bauman as well.
Bellman.
I think he was just given a different job description this season. And it makes sense because of how Onic Esports, the way that they're playing, they aren't looking for the brawls over the map. They try to avoid even, like we saw yesterday with the Valier being picked up into their composition. So I can't say that Onic Esports, I can't say that Boots has had a less of a great season than R7. He's just not as flashy. But
Yeah.
when we're taking it into the grand scheme of things, that I don't know. Like, has Boots been more effective in the grand scheme of things than R7?
Well, when the going gets tough, we see again that Boots is very much capable of making insane plays on that XP lane. I believe earlier on we saw him play the Esmeralda, and he was able to soak up a lot of damage and still be the highest damage dealer on his team. So when the situation calls for it, this man absolutely still has the skills to pull it off. But right now, with just how the team is playing and how the meta is developing, I just think that he is content playing in for that for that macro play, playing in that calculated manner, and going for less risky plays.
Absolutely. I agree with you. You know, I don't know. If we're talking about both these players, the impact that they are able to bring in that team, it all depends on the game plan, right? It all depends on their gameplay as well. As a team, how do they play? Well, on the side of Onic, it's just built for less flashy plays. We don't see any flashy plays mostly from any of the members, right? We usually see just calculated plays. Meanwhile, RRQ, complete opposite. They don't just utilize that macro, they utilize the micro skills as well. Getting ahead in the lane or in the early phase of the game, using that to create a snowball with these individual plays. Albert popping off on an assassin. Skylar popping off on a Beatrix, and obviously R7 on these playmaking XP laners. It's very different, the way both of these teams play. RRQ play as individuals. They're like a more refined aura, I feel like, right? Because it actually is similar. They play as a unit, but it's all with the individual masterclass. But on the top side, though, we're going to talk about this. Boots going to get caught. Yin Yang overturn, and the flame shot from Clay will finish him off in the mid lane as well. Albert, all of his weakness points will be popped here. CW looking for the last one. He has the crossbow of Tang. Tortoise's Poisons is there, but Albert will lose his life. The crossbow of Tang finds the kill, and Onic trade 1-for-1.
1-for-1, but for the jungle for the side of Onic Esports. So I think Onic Esports win that favorable trade this time around. There isn't any particular objective to contest, but Vin gets obliterated there with the kill pressure coming in from Kiboy. Now that is why the Selena is most of the time banned away from Onic Esports. Just look at the way he's able to play around the map.
Oh, what?
There you go. How does that happen?
Oh, and Drian, yes. He actually got two people on that. He got Skylar and Clay on the Dawning Light. So again, efficiency from Onic. They make little movements, but when they do, when they hit that Abyssal Arrow, they instantly capitalize.
And right on the bottom side, R7 comes back from his roaming journey. As you can see, Boots is just waiting around. He doesn't need to make anything too crazy happen. He's just waiting for the opportune moment. On the esports, they have more than enough tools to make plays happen on the back of Kiboy Selena. This is, as you guys mentioned, exactly why it's been so popular. He has already built a Clock of Destiny, so he is fully intent on scaling and becoming that next secondary carry for the team. But on the other hand, Skylar with the Blade of Despair and already building for a bit of lifesteal.
Oh, on the top side though, Albert's looking for play. Kiboy cannot really withstand this kind of dive, but RRQ don't really want to commit here. Only Lord spawning at this moment. 9th minute, not the enhanced version, still the first version of the Lord. RRQ, I don't think they want to contest this without any kills or objectives. Or wait, Albert moving very aggressively once again, opening up the map as this Baksha jungler. He knows how to play this hero really well. But so far, still Onic just with the lead, but Yin Yang overturn, and Skylar with the snipes out of nowhere. This is why Beatrix is banned as well from Skylar, not just Selena on the hands of Kiboy. Did you see how he used that render? Usually people, they aim first. This guy, he just taps on it and he gets the shot.
It's instinctual at this stage, man. But Albert here in a 2v1 situation, it might not be committed onto just yet, but the pressure that Arkihoshi have.
Oh, that's the revenge kill on it to Kiboy. Kiboy was able to get a solo kill. This time Vin will get the kill as well. Albert resets the Lord. RRQ, they have the advantage. 2 people were taken down. Drian has respawned, so RRQ don't really want to look for the aggressive play. CW will be able to actually get that turret in the mid lane because RRQ were not manipulating those waves in the mid.
He just walks up, attacks the turret, and that'll be the mid turret gone for the side of Arkihoshi. So Onic Esports have a lot more options here to go with a fast rotation through that mid lane, which has no more tower. Arkihoshi though finally will be pressuring the turret, and Sans as well as Boots are still quite a bit away from the Lord.
They're going to be able to burst this down. Yeah, that's Albert picking it up. CW looking for all 3 weakness points. Sans looking for the backside. Finn is going to be able to jump onto him with the silence there. It is going to be stunned as well. Sans will be taken down by Vin's execute. He still gets away as well. It's Drian trying to deal damage to Albert, but he's just way too tanky. Where the turret is poised Sans. In the mid lane though, it is going to be R7 taken down. Shield Unity and Skylar with the Renner will gun Boots down. It's another kill in the mid lane. Clay picks it up with the Yin Yang overturn. 3 kills out of nowhere.
3 kills traded for how many? 1 or 2 at that
For
stage?
1.
For 1. My god, Arkihoshi, they really are leading now, and that makes sense with that 2,000 gold lead. But Kiboy gets so low here. Is he going to win in a 1v1 situation?
One more
He
shield
might get
unity
away.
should do it. Is he going to dive the turret? That's the
No.
question. Oh, yes! He dives it. Oh my god, Kiboy!
Mistake.
Outplays Albert! That's what you do not want to see if you're an RRQ fan. Albert gets taught how to sit down by Kiboy.
That's the thing. If Arkihoshi, if they had just given Albert with a more playmaking potential hero, that would have been a kill for sure taken for the side of Arkihoshi. But Albert's so used to these heroes on the Baxia, it isn't as... He can't do that. The damage isn't as much, and he doesn't have the ability to outmaneuver the Selena in that particular way. Although that happened, Arkihoshi is able to get a trade on the board in that turret as well as lead in 2,500 gold.
Guys, I'm sorry. That wasn't Albert who was playing. It was Albob.
Albob.
Who's Albob?
That's his name in ranked.
Oh,
Right.
God.
Yeah, that's his actual account name. That's when he's trolling. So that was Albob for sure.
I mean, that's the issue, right? When you're a very good assassin player, sometimes what gets complimented is that killer instinct, where you
Exactly.
can actually see opportunities. But when you're on a box, yeah, the damage
Nah.
isn't enough, so you get baited into some situations, which is a bit less than ideal. So, with everything said, though, with the Lord secured, actually, RRQ was able to secure 1 more turret, and they're back in control. So, again and again, it's just individual plays all across the map. And right here, All-Star Showdown, West End for 1.
I was going to say, when Albert was going to go under that turret, the old playstyle Arkihoshi would have gone for it. The new Arkihoshi would not have gone for it, but he went for it, and he had to pay the price. So just hopefully in the future, Albert understands that he can't make the same movements like he can on, let's say, the Ling or even the Hayabusa. As guys, don't forget to help out MPLID to be a better tournament here by just scanning the barcode and filling in the survey.
Yep. So right now, RRQ is still waiting for the next objective. That will be where they can predict Onyx movement. Because again, both these teams, they play for objectives, right? So when RRQ is in the lead, they can just wait and use this objective as bait. Because Onic Esports, they've probably studied how they moved around.
Absolutely. You know, RRQ, they're trying to use this lead to create more. They're not even going for any fights here in this early stage after getting the pick. And oh my god, Kiboy almost just gets sniped down by the flame shot. At this point, right, Onic, what do they need to do? Because they're getting poked down by the range advantage of RRQ.
It's a bit funny, right? Because for the side of Onic, if you get hit by a missile arrow, you get followed up by the
Xavier.
Right, the Dawning Light, and that's like a very long-range pickoff. But for the side of RRQ, it's a similar thing because once you get hit by any kind of stun from the Kagura, there's a flame shot that follows up. There's a snipe that comes out. So both these teams have a very good long-range pickoff potential, and that makes it quite difficult. I think the difference is in the durability of the members because for RRQ, way more people can afford to actually take some damage and still live to tell the tale, whereas for Onic, it's just not as secure.
Yeah, they only have the Esmeralda perhaps, as well as the Hellcurt.
Hellcurt maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Potentially the Hellcurt, but for
Right.
sure the Esmeralda should be able to sustain that type of damage. So in that sense, RRQ Hoshi has the better pickoff potential that we have not yet seen too much of so far. I think Onic Esports, they're playing this really intelligently.
Right, and aside from also the durability of the front line, the fact that you have a stronger, well, more tanks and a stronger front line also means that you can slowly but surely pressure Onic away from those objectives and then play that vision game. Wait for the pickoff coming in from that Natalia. So that's why I was saying they have a lot more options to play around with. But if Onic gets the combo, right, they land all their spells, that is still a lot of possibility for them to turn it on RRQ Hoshi instead.
I agree. You know, especially with the Selena, it's a very good playmaking hero. Can open up the map really well. They have to use this map pressure to their advantage. Because if they don't use this, it is just going to be RRQ looking for fights constantly, looking for poke. And in the end, I don't really think that Onic can contest when it comes to the poke game. Yes, Drian can use that Dawning Light, but it's off like... it's pretty long, the cooldown, right? Meanwhile, Beatrix... For now. But still, even when we get to the late game, it's longer compared to Beatrix's basic attack, obviously. And this basic attack from that range is just going to be able to keep on poking Onic members because look at the range. Aside from Drian, they don't really have a lot. R7 will be able to pick up that turret in the top side, and this is where Onic just needs to look for cheeky picks. With their map pressure, they have a global ultimate. They have Sans who can make the map dark, and obviously that pick potential in Abyssal Arrow.
What I did notice is that even if Onic Esports put down Abyssal Traps from Kiboy, the Boxia has the ability to just, you know, engulf all these for himself and withstand the damage that it could potentially have. So trying to deny and, of course, limit the potential vision that Onic Esports naturally wants to have. But as you can see here, already some grouping around the Lord that is going to be very important, honestly. I mean, RRQ Hoshi, they already have pushed just up until that inhibitor turret. It only takes one more to go.
There you go.
Wow, Vin, what happened there?
Just gets caught out. Onic finds that location. And I just realized Kiboy has sprint and he pops it right now to try and find something. The Hellcurt goes in as well.
Yeah, there you go. That's the thing that Onic needed to find there, and that's to be Boots caught in a bad situation. Yin Yang overturned, but the Dawning Light will return to favor. The Abyssal Arrow connects, and Kiboy, he went too aggressively. Skylar with the beautifully placed Nibiru's Passion will be able to take Kiboy down, and he's starting to melt everyone down. CW gets all of the weakness points, though. He's come to play. The crossbow tank can be chained, and he will use it. Now onto R7. Sans trying to clear out the bottom side wave. R7 goes in with wild charge, but he will be taken down. He goes for the wall, but he will not be able to survive. Onic with the better picks, but wait! A miscalculation for the side of Onic. R7 survives. Never mind. It was all calculated.
The fadeaway.
The fadeaway from Drian. The Yin Yang overturn does not connect, but Drian way too cold with it.
Man, 3 to 4-2 trade for the side of Onic Esports, I believe. And now, because Sans is still up and running, still available, they do have a really good chance of taking away this Lord, of course, unless it is stolen. Still 7 seconds on the clock. Can RRQ Hoshi contest this?
I don't think so. And talking about the cooldown on the Dawning Light, it's pretty spammable, man. Are you seeing this? It's just coming out again and again. So over there, I really think that if Skylar survives, everything is still pretty okay. But Vin, though, trying to halve HP with a single Dawning Light, that is the danger coming in from that Savior pick.
It's those moments, man, when you think like, oh yeah, Onic, they miscalculated. Never mind.
Yeah,
It's Onic, right? Drian, the last Kage, what a snipe, and what a play, I guess. They made RRQ think twice, definitely.
Absolutely. And I think there, it shows again, if Skylar didn't go in forward aggressively and he just played to maintain distance, I really think he was going to be okay. But he went in, he got the kill and he got more damage off, but he gets taken out in exchange. And we talked about the poke potential, the pickup potential. A big part of that for RRQ is that Selena, it's the Beatrix pick. So he needs to actually stay alive around the map if he wants to have that kind of impact.
All right, has Drian missed that Dawning Light a single time? I feel like in this game he's been very accurate. Skylar, I think the only time he missed his render shot was that one down below on Boots. That's the only one that I counted.
Well, for Drian, I do think for the most part it's been pretty effective, but several times he just fires it off to try and find info, and obviously those wouldn't really land. They're like just blind Dawning Lights.
Agreed.
Even if it misses, it's probably for a reason. Open up vision.
Yeah, it
because
just-
of the utility, right? It's not
Because he's
just
the
there
last
for the
Kage.
damage. It's because he is the last Kage. Mirko 2020. Is it 2? It's
No,
2022.
it's one. It's one.
I was gonna say 21, and I'm like, Eterna, please.
Eterna, please.
You're live right now.
You
Let's
have
not
the Samsung
tell
Galaxy
everyone
A
else.
series phone. All you need to do is tap on it and you can see the time. That's
You're right.
technology. 2022.
Boom, bang, bada bing.
Boom, bang, bada bing, but back again to the game. Arashi, we're approaching 20 minutes, right? Wait, okay, how long is this? Because I feel like the pacing has been ruined because of the pauses, right? So I don't know what time it is in the game.
It's Onic time.
Same.
Oh, what time is it? It may be Onic time. We'll see. That's a PH quote, though. So
Yeah,
it's-
shout out Philippines.
that's Onic PH. That's not Onic ID. It's
It's
Go
okay,
Onic here
it's
in
okay.
Indonesia. But all right, 1641. That was a time when it was paused. Okay, so 1641. Who has the better late game? Who has the better stage right now? And who will have the better late game?
Ooh, that's a tough question. I really think it has to be Onic.
RQ, no?
I think it might be Onic, man.
Why
Just
Onic?
because Beatrix, yes, you do a lot of damage. You have a lot more options to play around with. But overall, I think 1-1 will do a lot more damage. And
Ooh.
1-1 has the advantage of not needing to build boots, right? So that's a secondary advantage. And later on, they have an Esmeralda, which is a lot stronger than a Grok or a Baxia in the late game, I think. So, of course, it doesn't mean that if the game goes late that Onic will definitely win, but I think they will have an advantage, and RRQ will need to play around that instead.
But I don't know. The Kagura scales, plus I feel like the Natalia is more important, I would say, than the Selena in towards the late game. But the Lord has actually started marching down there in that bottom side. A first siege coming in from Onic Esports as we take a look at the real-time win probability presented to you by the Samsung Galaxy A series. It is for the side of Onic Esports, but honestly, it was shifting towards RRQ Hoshi, so quite even in that sense. As Onic Esports, even though they are in the lead, still only a 1,000 gold lead, it can instantly be turned around as well.
Yeah, I actually have to disagree with your opinion, Arashi, here. I feel like as a 1-1 player, this is where CW hits his peak. He needs to use the abilities. He needs to pop that crossbow of Tang right now. Maybe possibly look for the end in the next 2 minutes. If Beatrix gets that Malefic Roar, possibly even the Haas Claws with the DHS, it's going to be really hard to fight this guy. More DPS, actually. So let's take a look at his items. Oh, he's actually completed all of his items. So I think right now, Skylar might be able to outdamage CW.
Well, I think it would outdamage CW when it comes to like more burst, right? If you shoot with the sniper, for example, there'll be bigger chunks. But overall, when it comes to just pure raw DPS,
Nibiru.
well, he has to reload in the middle of everything though, right? Where CW can just continue hitting. Of course, it will come down to the itemization as well, because CW has an Antiquiros as well as a Wind of Nature. So really respecting the damage coming in from Vin for sure. And he even has an Athena's just in case, right? In case Clay gets that big play on him. So again, it's a team effort.
Oh my god!
Oh.
Vin gets outplayed by Kiboy! Oh man, what an amazing read by the side of Kiboy.
Yeah, one member from the side of RRQ Hoshi has actually been taken down, and this gives Onic Esports the momentum in a sense that it takes 30 seconds for Vin to respawn, but 30 seconds are left on the clock, on the board. So that pickoff pressure that initially was given for the side of RRQ Hoshi has instantly been taken away, and you can see them already rotating towards that area.
Absolutely.
I mean, Vin on the Natalia will scale better and be able to burst faster than Kiboy on the Selena. I do agree with that. So Onic will need to be very, very careful, because right there, Vin was behind them the whole time and they had no clue. Clay gets checked to half HP as Onic Esports go for the Lord.
Absolutely. Look at this. Onic are looking for something. Albert will be able to jump onto Boots, and now he's going to be caught. Winner's Shot's going to be popped by Clay right there, and Trion so on point. With the shutdown, he will be able to put that Mystic Field down and a Dawning Light as well. CW with a crossbow of Tank takes everyone down, and Skylar as well, but he still survives with that flicker. What a play by the side of of RRQ to survive that one and actually turn the tides. Onic 2-2, Kiboy looking for the waves, but this actually will be favorable for Onic because look at the pressure. Look at the Lord. They're taking it with the help of Drian, dealing the damage to the Dawning Light. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. It will be Sans and Drian on the Lord. No retribution, but R7, we've seen him do this before. He poops up the wall. He's looking for the play, the retribution. Clutch by Sans to save it away. Vin, though, he's going to be able to melt Drian down. Sans jumps out, and that's the Dark Knight Falls coming in.
4 members taken down from the side of Onic Esports, but they were able to get that Lord. It is a 2,000 gold lead, but look at Skylar and R7 really focus on objectives right now. They are going to be able to take this mid-side turret, even though the Lord is in the favor of Onic Esports.
They back away right now and they take all the buffs away from Onic Esports. That was a very tense moment, and right now the death timers for Onic Esports is in this array, so RRQ Hoshi can still go and try and find something else. It is 20 minutes right now, and everyone, for the most part, is at full items. It's really, really fast, and Kiboy in particular already has a Holy Crystal, knowing that he will be going for those cheeky pickoffs onto the squishy carry members of RRQ Hoshi.
Yeah, the top side as well. It feels like even when they have this pressure, oh, Sans jumps in, Vin gets solo killed in the bottom side. But yeah, again, to the point, Onic, they were able to pick up that Evolved Lord, but the thing is, they weren't really able to convert on any of these objectives. I mean, when you lose 4 members, was it 3 or 4?
It's hard to. 4.
When they lose 4 members with the Lord, it's hard to actually get in position and manage the waves in a way that makes it very conducive for you to take any objectives. So now RRQ Hoshi is still on the back foot, and Onic Esports have that pick-off potential to try and make use of, to try and get something before they actually go for the turrets.
I mean, RRQ Hoshi, they have a lot of good wave clear. The burst is definitely there, and did you see what Clay just made? The Holy Crystal has arrived here for the Kagura, so it only takes one moment to be able to burst down these members coming in from Onic Esports. We mentioned this before, the only person who can sustain potentially that damage is going to be that Esmeralda, so all these members from the side of Onic, they need to be careful of that potential happening.
Boots now has the Ice Queen's wand as well, so if RRQ Hoshi is ever in a weird spot, they don't have a lot of escapes. If Boots gets to stick to them, that is a lot of already set up for Drian as well as Kiboy to land their shots, and for Sans to of course get to the squishier members like Skylar, like Vin, like Clay. So they need to position very careful and maybe use R7 and his wild charge in a more defensive fashion.
At this point, RRQ, they've actually lost their goal lead. They had a 3,000 that was built up with one fight. Onic were able to turn it around, and that's what we said, right? Using the map pressure, using that kill pressure that you have from the picks, and utilizing it to create more advantages on the map. This Dark Knight Falls has been phenomenal when combat with Abyssal Arrow because you don't know where it's coming from.
It's almost like a secondary setup kind of. So Sans not doing very well, but he has 3, 2, and 5, and he has been farming up, so he's doing just fine. At this point, with the gold advantages just swinging back and forth and already equalized, it will come down back again to the execution of the fights in the late game and the macro play to decide who gets control over the Lord and who gets an advantage. Vin now is in the back, and he will meet Sans.
I mean, we'll see what happens here. And let him pass. That's the underlying thing. So now Onic Esports as well as RRQ Hoshi, it seems like they are going to try and contest for the Lord, to be honest. But it seems like R7 there is quick on his feet. He is going to have the pressure in that top side, which means that Onic Esports will be forced to go up there and put one of their man resources to alleviate that type of pressure. But the thing is, they are easy to move around the map too. I mean, the Hellcurt can just go back down. We'll see what happens here. RRQ Hoshi have already started the Lord.
RRQ Hoshi pressured for the Lord, knowing that Sans is in the top side. He will start pathing towards the bottom side, and this is where Vin makes his move.
Ooh, there you go. Drian will be chunked low, but my goodness, the Dawning Light and the survivability. Drian with the sprint, he survives. And now Albert caught in a bad situation. It is going to be CW popping every single weakness point. This will isolate Albert and R7, Clay, Skylar, all of them will be dispersed. Onic, what a play, what a pickoff. This was what the 1-1 was picked for, not to deal the damage in the team fights, but mostly to just isolate these members. CW going for one more weakness point is all he needs to pop the crossbow of Tang. Winter Truncheon is there for the side of Clay to survive a little bit longer, but Sans picks up a mega kill with 3 members taken out. They might just be looking for the end right here. Skylar is still available for this defense though. They need to be careful. He used his Renner shot as well, but he's going to have to swap over to Bennett. There's no way that they defend this without Bennett. That is a 4-man pressured base. Onic are going for it. Skylar will have to back away. CW looking for it as well, but it's going to be Sans jumping onto the base. Arsene with wild charge will be able to stop the minions from hitting the crossbow. Tang is there, but Skylar still survives. He needs to clear out the minion waves. The miracle that Albert pulled off in Season 6 will not be possible. It is a 1-1 in the scoreboard, equalized by Onic.
Equalized by Onic Esports with a very, I can't say dominant performance as well. I think that was quite back and forth. How many minutes was that? 24?
25 minutes.
25 minutes of pure back and forth movement. Well played from the side of RRQ Hoshi as well as Onic Esports. But unfortunately for the side of RRQ, Onic just played the better team fight in that particular end. And wow.
Well, there you go. I mean,
they didn't team fight. They went for picks. They isolated the members with CW. That's actually a brilliant plan, because with the crossbow of Tang, it's going to chain to someone else, right?
Yeah.
So by getting that weakness point instantly, everyone splits up, and that's where the Hellcurt shines. That's where the Selena shines.
The problem is, RRQ Hoshi, they were right to just not go back in, right? You saw R7, you saw Clay not going in, understanding that his other members were going to go down. The problem is they went in and committed again. They should have just went back, to be honest. That was a mistake.
I think it began...
It was tough. Yeah. Evolved Lord was, you know, again, I think it was fight or flight at that point. They lost 2 members. If they just played passively, I think they would have just lost either way with the Evolved Lord coming in with the crossbow of Tang again in the next fight.
I think they could have really abused the mobility from the Baxia. We saw that being a pattern with teams using the Baxia as the jungle, and maybe cleared out the top side, played the macro game a bit more, and maybe used Vin in a more counter-engaged fashion. Because Vin went in initially for that pick-off onto Drian on the Savior. But it didn't work out. He gets picked off, and that was the beginning of everything, right? Whereas if he just waited there and maybe found some info, that just allows RRQ to move with more confidence and set up a more reliable team fight. After Vin is picked off, though, Onic just pressures for the fight, and as Eterna mentioned, after we saw Albert just going in, unable to run away from 4 members, everyone else got zoned away by the crossbow of Tang, and afterwards Clay also came in to try and, you know, maybe delay by some time or just stall them, but it just wasn't a good enough plan at 25 minutes. Drian, though, interesting enough, only has an Immortal, yet Vin was just unable to actually get the kill on him, so that is, I find it quite interesting. It might be because he is forced to build a bit more defensively. He has a Rose Gold Meteor just in case he gets bursted down again by Kiboy on the Selena as well as Drian on that Savior. So maybe that's why the damage just isn't as reliable. But that aside, I think looking at the items, Boots with the full items, right? The Oracle as well as the Athenas ensures that any kind of magical damage doesn't really matter. The shielding is just buffed by the Oracle and the Ice Queen's wand. We talked about the members of RRQ Hoshi just unable to run away, kite away from that extra bit of slow. So if you combine the Ice Queen's wand on Boots as well as the corrosive side on CW, that's just a slow upon slow, and that just allows them to chase RRQ down, and that is exactly what they did.
Absolutely, that was a very well thought out fight for the side of Onic. The fact that they were able to use this, I don't know, I have to say, kind of one-dimensional draft, because again, it heavily relied on them getting the picks, isolating the members. The fact that they made this work shows the brilliance of their macro. They were